Liscum, June 9th, Tuesday.
My name is Matt Liscum. I'm an agriculture instructor here at Blue Mountain Community College. My students just call me Matt, and we have a pretty good time. I'm also run the meat science lab here, and we're still going through all this, and so it's been a lot of fun. My first term at I attended Oregon State was a bit trying, I should say, in a unique sense, maybe not the way that you're thinking. I ruptured my kidney playing rugby and missed 7 weeks. So basically I had to turn around and withdraw from all my classes. It was not a real good tee off to my college career. So I started a term behind right off the bat. Probably similar a little bit to some of you who just got going this year and then suddenly found yourself home again, which was the last place that I wanted to be at that particular time. My transition from high school to college was interesting. I left, got about as far away as I possibly could afford, just wanted some new experiences, meet some new people. Ironically, I roomed with one of my best friends from where I grew up, which probably wasn't the greatest idea. It was comfortable for the first term, and then you kind of meet new people and go your own way, and that last term is a little awkward. But it was fun. It was certainly different being on my own. I always thought I was a pretty responsible person until I got truly on my own, and then I realized I wasn't maybe as responsible as I thought I was. It is very unique, no matter how much freedom you think you have as a high school student, to suddenly leave, not have back-to-back classes, have a 3-hour break that you've got to leave or you've got to come back and be there. No one's holding your hand. You're responsible for getting things done. Excuses are great, but in the end, it's certainly up to you. And no one's overseeing you. No one's yelling at you if you don't do anything. It's your choice. And so sometimes it takes a while to develop that self-discipline and maybe get slapped around and realize, oh, I got to get going on this. My first job, true job, I was 11 years old, and I was a caddy at a private golf course. I got up about 6 o'clock, left about 6:15, so I could be at this golf course was 7 miles, so I ride my bike. And you were supposed to be 12, but I was kind of a big kid, so I carry a golf bag. They let me do it. If you've ever seen the movie Caddyshack, beyond the Bill Murray character, the Caddyshack itself is actually pretty accurate. Bunch of young kids screwing around, carrying golf bags. It takes about 4 hours to play a round of golf. My base pay when I first started out was $3.50. If I got tipped 50 cents, I could crack that $1 an hour barrier almost, and then I'd ride another 7 miles back. So basically I spent 9/10 of my Saturday and Sundays to make less than $10. But I learned an enormous amount. It was fun. I got to meet a lot of people. I learned what life was like for the rich and famous, and it was certainly not what my life was like. But I learned how to interact with adults. You're forced to be with somebody. One time I caddied for Eddie Carlson, who at the time was chairman of United Airlines. I'm 12 years old, walking around with this guy for 4 hours, and he's talking to you, and he expects you to respond. I learned a lot there. It was a fascinating job. I did that for, I don't know, a couple of years, got promoted to range boy, and then I actually got a real job after that. But it was great. I guess my biggest challenge to stay in college is a little different than some people, and that is I had a job offer when I still had 2 terms to go. And I was kind of done with school. They didn't care if I had my degree at the time. I already had the experience that they were looking for, and it happened to be in the meat industry. I had been the student manager of the meat science lab at OSU for 2 years and worked there another year. they just wanted me to come work for them. And it was hard to turn down the money, worry they were going to hire somebody else if I didn't leave right away. My degree at the time suddenly didn't seem all that important. What I had learned in classes was very important to get to the knowledge base that I needed for that job, but the rest of it seemed to be, again, a hoop jump just to get a piece of paper. And I thought, oh, I got a job. I don't need that piece of paper anymore. My parents actually insisted that I stay and finish, or I might have left. But it was just, those last 2 terms were a struggle. My mind was already somewhere else, and I had moved on in my life, but only mentally, not physically yet, and I had to grind out those last couple terms. I think the lesson I learned then, or from that, obviously was that degree does matter, and that piece of paper is important, and no matter how much I thought I was going to do that the rest of my life, I didn't. And if I hadn't had something to fall back on, I wouldn't even say fall back on, move forward with, I think is a better term. That degree helped me open a lot of doors. Even if for a while maybe I didn't use it exactly, the fact that I had it opened up a lot of other doors that I wouldn't have been able to walk through. Obviously, you hope every student experiences some sort of success, and I think that's defined differently, and that's pretty cliche. And I don't necessarily mean academic success, but success in terms of being on their own, meeting people, networking, and then beyond the classroom success. I did not take advantage of a lot of things that I could have in college. I got to the point where it was like, okay, grind through this, jump the hoops, do what I'm supposed to do, get my degree, and I'm done. I'm ready to get out of here. And I missed out on a lot of opportunities. I wouldn't say I regret them, but I think it would have been a more fulfilling experience for me had I really focused on doing things other than just the assignments, turning them in, getting a grade, and moving on. I didn't really take advantage of what that content truly was. I hope they find some new avenues, some new interests, things they didn't know existed out there that kind of set them on fire, that they think, you know what, this is what I really want to do. So I think a lot of the way that I look at success for students is when they leave here, they've developed a direction that they're excited about, and they're going to pursue that, and they know the avenues to pursue it, how they get in touch with people, what it's going to take to get there, and ultimately end up in a career that they enjoy. I'm lucky. I'm probably one of the few people who actually gets up and looks forward to going to work. I love what I do, and it's been an interesting process to get here, but that's kind of what I hope they experience, is just find a passion they like to do, end up doing something for a career they enjoy, and are a successful person.